Today, Baba is giving us very beautiful titles, like always. And you see, when we love somebody, we give them many titles. But most of the time, when human beings give titles, they are false. You may call somebody, you are the sweetest on earth, but not necessarily they are the sweetest. But when Baba, gives us titles, Baba also ensures that we become that. And today Baba says that you children are Raj Yogis, Raj Rishis. So these are very elevated titles. And you see, we may be, usually these kind of titles, which are very elevated titles, they are given to people who are on the path of renunciation or devotion, or they have seemingly left home and they are doing a lot of tapasya and everything. But we are living in an ordinary body, in an ordinary setting, playing ordinary roles, seemingly, yes, and we are not seemingly doing anything extraordinary, because you're still going to work, you're still living with the family, you're still raising children, you're still living in this old world. But still Baba says you are Raj Yogis and Raj Rishis. So what is it that makes me a Raj Yogi and Raj Rishi while living in this ordinary world, playing ordinary roles? So Baba says it is your practice of remembering Baba and your dharana of purity. Dharana means something you have imbibed, something you are an embodiment of. So Baba says, while living in this old world, while living in this ordinary world, you are now not ordinary. You are Raj Yogis, you are Raj Rishis. And so, you can even, when you think about yourself, you can give yourself a title, Raj Yogi Achyuta Bhai or Raj Yogi Karen Ben, yes, so Raj Yogi Vandana Ben, yes, so we are all Raj Yogis. So, and Baba says that this is your title, and Baba says that you should be in awareness of this title, because you may be living in an ordinary setting, but you're not ordinary. You are now practicing purity, and you are in remembrance of the Almighty. And that is what makes us elevated. And when we come to Baba, Baba always says two things, be yogi, be pure. So when Baba comes to us and we meet Baba, the two blessings that Baba gives us is, may you be yogi and may you be pure. Now you see, blessings make impossible possible. So until Baba comes, the people who lived in the household, they thought that we cannot be yogis, because yogis are those who leave the household. That was the notion. But Baba says, in the household, I come and give you this blessing that you may live in the family, you may do ordinary work, but you are a yogi now. You can be a yogi if you make the effort to be in my remembrance. And people thought that you cannot be pure while living in a household. So, there is a saying in the path of renunciation that when cotton and fire stay together, then there is going to be fireworks. So that means that when a soul in a male body and a soul in a female body are there, then you cannot have a pure relationship, especially between a husband and a wife. So it was said that if you live in the family, if you live with your spouse, you cannot become pure. That's why, when people went on the path of renunciation, the first thing they did is leave the spouse, because they thought the spouse is the problem. So, leave the spouse, leave the home, and then you can be pure. But Baba says, no, you It is your choice. You can be anywhere, you can live in the family, but just leave the vices, leave the impurity. And for that, you don't need to leave the family, you don't need to leave your duties or roles. And this is a very big blessing that Baba comes and gives us, because until Baba comes, we never thought we could be yogis and Raj Rishis. Rishi means pure. So Baba says purity and being a yogi seemed impossible for householders. So Baba says, you are Raj Yogis and Raj Rishis. And then Baba today explains the difference between the path of Hatha Yoga and the path of Raj Yoga. Now, you see, there are three words that Baba explains today: Hatha Yoga, Karma Sannyasi, and Raj Yogi. So, what is Karma Sannyasi? Those who leave the family and household and they go on the path of isolation. Okay, so there are ascetics. So, you know the path of asceticism. So, there are ascetics who leave their family, leave the household, and then they go to some secluded place and then they practice. So, what they practice is called Hatha Yoga. And what is Hatha Yoga? You are basically trying to be in a certain posture for a long time. So, you are trying to master your body. That's basically Hatha Yoga. So you may be, sitting cross-legged. So, there is something called Padmasana. You place one leg on another leg and then the first leg on the other leg, and then you sit cross-legged and sit in a straight posture. And you do that for, maybe 24 hours at a stretch. And then you sit straight and then you focus on your breath and these things. So these are practices of Hatha Yoga. This is one practice I'm telling you. There are many practices of Hatha Yoga, and they practice sitting in different postures, and they practice focusing on the breath, and they practice remembering the Brahma element, the world of silence. So they don't have any idea about Shiv Baba. So they don't know that God is a being of light. He's, a conscious living being of light. They don't know all of that, because until Baba comes and tells us, nobody can figure that out. But they have this idea through their, through their tapasya, through their path of effort. They have discovered that there is a world of light beyond. And they have that yoga with the world of light, which is our soul world. And they sit in remembrance of that soul world, and they just sit in silence, or, they will just sit and focus on the breath, or just try to sit in one posture and keep their body in control. So all that is called Hatha Yoga. And for that, you have to leave the family. Okay, you cannot be in the family and go to work and sit in one posture. Can you do that? That's not possible. If you have to do that practice, you definitely have to leave the family and work and the world. So that is the practice of Hatha Yoga. And Hatha Yoga is taught by, Shankaracharya ji. So Shankaracharya was the founder of Hatha Yoga, and he started these practices, and he was the teacher of Hatha Yoga. And Baba says, so that is Hatha Yoga, and that is Karma Sannyasi, those who leave the household. But Baba says, those who live in the household, Hatha Yoga and Karma Sannyas is not for them. So you cannot, there are people I know who are trying to meditate for 8 hours, sitting in one place and focusing on their breath while living at home. And then that's not possible, because when you are living at home, there is a lot of work that needs to be done, and money that you need, and everything. So that practice is not for householders. But what has happened is, because Baba comes only at the end. So 1500 years back, or 2000 years back, so, or so precisely 1500 years back, or somewhere between 1200 and 1500 years back. So this practice of Hatha Yoga was given by Shankaracharya. And then people started doing this. Now, those who left the homes and did this, okay, great. So whether you got something or not got something, you were into a practice. But what happened is people who were living in the household, they also started practicing the same thing that those who left the household practiced. And then that is not going to give you any results, because you see, the beginning of a Hatha yogi is you leave the house, and then you are not beginning from the beginning, and then how can you reach wherever they are reaching. So Baba also says that even sannyasis, they make some contribution by their purity. They remain celibate, they walk away, but still they remain celibate, or they contribute to some purity of the world. But those who are living in households, they are not even contributing to any purity by doing this Hatha Yoga. And now suddenly, there's this wave where Hatha Yoga has become power yoga. And power yoga is all about, moving the body very fast, and then, giving it postures and everything. But Hatha Yoga is not power yoga. Power yoga is about moving the body very fast in different postures. But Hatha Yoga is just stabilizing in a posture for many, many hours. And that is a religious practice. But now this power yoga and all is only done for health. So that is another thing. So there are many kinds of yogas that are practiced. So this Baba clarifies is Hatha Yoga. And then Baba says, for you, there is only Raj Yoga. And I come and make you Raj Yogis and Raj Rishis. And what is a Raj Yogi and Raj Rishi? So Baba says, you live in the family, you do your work, just pay attention to being wiseless. So you don't have to leave the work or family, you have to leave the vices. So don't indulge in lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed, neither in thought, nor in words, nor in actions. So what is purity? Purity is refraining from lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed in thought, word, and act. And Baba says purity is very important, because you look at the world right now. This whole world is burning in the flames of lust. Yes, just look at and you see, if every person in this world shared their experience of abuse, most people have gone through some form of abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse in this world. And just think about how much of the flame of lust is there in this world. And how will this world become heaven? Because you see, the world of happiness and peace can only be established on the foundation of purity. If one person is looking at another person as an object of sensual gratification, that world cannot have peace and purity, because there is a saying, if you befriend if the horse befriends the grass, then what will it eat? Yes, so the horse cannot befriend the grass, and when you are lustful, that other person is a grass for you. So that is an object of gratification. And that object you cannot respect or honor, or you cannot have respectful or loveful or honorable feelings for them. That's not possible, because you're looking at everybody as an object of devourment and sensual satisfaction. So Baba says a world of harmony and love and purity cannot be established in this kind of burning flames of lust. And you see, when the whole world is burning with the flames of lust, one cannot say that, I'm only engaging in lust once a week. So, tell those who are engaging in lust 3 times a day. So that's not how it works, because, if you are in a country where there is pollution and everybody is going to die from pollution, air pollution, then what do you have to do? Everybody has to stop, spreading that pollution. Otherwise, if somebody says, I have only one car, I will drive it, and those who have 3 cars, ask them to drive only one. No, it doesn't work like that. Everybody has to, 100% abstain, and that is the way you can change a condition. And Baba says this is why. And of course, Baba cannot make everybody as abstain, because not everybody is listening to Baba. So Baba says, at least, you handful of children, you have to do your bit. If you embrace complete purity, then we will reach a momentum of purity which will offset the flame of lust in this world. So Baba says, at least, my handful of children, they have to practice giving up lust. And then this whole world can become a pure world, because Baba says at least 9 lakhs are required who will embrace complete purity. And then that will set, that is enough, that much of purity is enough to bring this world, change this world from impure to pure. So Baba says this is why, if you are the Rajyogis, Rajrishis, who are living in the household and taking up this practice of refraining from, lust, or accepting, celibacy. So not even in thought you entertain any thought of lust. Baba says not even in your dreams. And if you are having any thought, any dream, then have more yoga with the ocean of purity, and then you will be able to overcome those waves of lust also. So this one Baba says. And then Baba says another big vice is anger. Yes, and just think about what is the extent of anger. So anger, so it is always said, don't decide when you are angry, because anger makes you make very bad decisions. And so it is always said, what begins in anger ends in shame. Because when you are angry, you do things which you repent later. But when you are under the sway of anger, you don't realize, and you don't realize the consequences of it. I remember there was this one brother, and what he did was, he was teaching his child. His child was some 3 years or 4 years of age, and they were sitting on the windowsill, on the window. What do you say, that ledge? They were sitting there, and this child, he was not able to spell 40 correctly. He always wrote FOURTY, and this father, he was teaching him to write FORTY 40. And this child refused to learn, because every time, because 4 is written as FOUR, he would make the same mistake. And this father got so angry, he slapped him so hard, he went out of the window and fell out of the window. And that child broke all his bones. And then the father came running, and he was so remorseful. And you see, but the thing is anger. If somebody has anger, that person doesn't at that time realize that what I'm speaking or doing, or how I'm using my body when I'm angry, it is going to have consequences. And this is the thing about anger. And Baba says that, you think about anger and ego. People who are in a powerful position today, they will not even refrain from, giving that command or switching the button which will kill millions. Just think about, one person who is in ego and anger giving a direction and a war starting, and so many get killed in that war. And what is all that? It is all anger and ego, or maybe greed for power or something. And Baba says that this is what these vices are doing in the world. And Baba says, now you want to transform the world. Why are you called Rajyogis, Rajrishis? Because whatever you are doing as an individual is going to transform the whole world. And Baba says, don't do anything. Just work on him being pure. You give up anger, you give up lust, you give up greed, attachment, and ego. And when you do it individually, then collectively, all the Brahmins, all Baba's children, we will generate a force that will enable this world to transform into a world of purity, peace, and harmony. And that is why Baba says that you children may be sitting in an ordinary setting, but you are not ordinary. You are very extraordinary, doing extraordinary work that Baba has given you just by staying in remembrance of Baba, drawing in the power of purity, and in very ordinary actions, not using lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed, but coming from a place of good wishes, good feelings, doing everything for Baba, on the directions of Baba. This is going to change the world. You will become an agent of change just by doing that. And this is why Baba says, you may be sitting in an ordinary setting, but you are not ordinary. And then Baba says that Raj Rishi means you stay pure to attain a kingdom. So Baba says, those people who leave their homes and do so much of, Hatha Yoga, they don't attain anything. But I am the one teaching you the method. And just by being in my remembrance and being pure, you will become the masters of the new world. So that is why it is called Raj. That word Raj means kingship. So this is going to give you kingship of the new world. And then Baba also says that, when people engage in Hatha Yoga, they do it birth after birth after birth. Yes, so because nobody becomes, nobody gets liberated or goes to a new world through Hatha Yoga. So what happens is, you leave the home in one birth, you go and live in a jungle, you do Hatha Yoga, and then what happens? You beg alms from those who live in households. So when people are on the path of renunciation, they don't cook or earn their own bread and butter, right? So they beg. That's the practice. Now, when you are taking alms from those who are living in households, then basically those householders are earning that money through all the, impure means. And they are indulging in vice and they are cooking that food. And then all that karmic account is coming to you. Because, when you eat the food which is earned by, impure methods, and which is cooked by people who are engaging in lust, then you also incur the account of that. So then what happens is, they create a karmic account with the householders. And then because of that karmic account, they take rebirth in a household. And then because they have the sanskar that they are renunciates, they will again leave the household and then again go. And the cycle will repeat. So Baba says, birth after birth after birth, they continue to become sannyasis. And it is a very interesting fact that when a new member joins a group of ascetics and renunciates, then many a times those people, because they also have, because of the power of purity, some third eye, so they are able to recognize that this is that soul who had left our group, who had died some years back, because it is a loop. So they are all coming back to that same path again and again. But Baba says, for you, it's not like that. You become a Raj Yogi for one birth, you become pure, because Baba, based on the, the intense, the intense law of karma. So Baba gives us all these methods, all these directions that, cook your own food, don't eat food earned, so from by impurity, or don't cook food, but don't eat food cooked by people who engage in lust. So all of these things Baba has given us directions about. I will tell you one thing about the yajna. So you see that in Baba's home, in Baba's centers, and in Mount Abu, uh, the money that comes is from Baba's children. And we don't take donations. Do you know that? We don't take donations from the world. Why? Because that money, which is not coming from those who practice purity, will create a burden on the one who uses it. Okay? So, this is one practice. And another thing is, there is a distinction made between whose money will be used for buying grocery and food items and whose money will be used for other stuff, because food is very important. So even in the center, those children who send money for bhog, or for the center's grocery, that money comes from the ones we are sure that they are practicing purity. And they are they are good children of Baba who are taking care of how they earn their money and how they spend their money. And if other children are also who are not practicing purity, they're sending, we spend it on other heads, maybe some some things that have to be bought in the center or something. And I will tell you this thing from the beginning of the yajna, that in the beginning there was not this system of the ones who came from households, they did not contribute to Baba's yajna. In the beginning, it was only Brahma Baba's money that was used. So for 14 years, Brahma Baba's wealth was used. And Brahma Baba had that much, so that was the part. And at that time, food was not offered bhog to Baba before eating. Because it was Brahma Baba's wealth, which was pure wealth, and then it was food cooked by yogis. So there was no system of bhog at that time. But later, when Baba's children started contributing, then there came a time when the centers and the yajna started facing a lot of obstacles. And then Baba was asked, so that what should we do and why are these obstacles coming? So then Baba explained that some children who are not practicing a lot of purity are also sending contributions. So what you do is you offer bhog to Baba, so that all that effect will be nullified. So that is when the practice of bhog started happening. So just understand that the money with which you cook food, and if you engage in vices and cook food, that is creating a lot of karmic account. And if you are eating from the hands of those who are earning with impurity or cooking while going into vices, then that account is shared by you. And this is why sannyasis keep taking birth in the sannyas dharam. And Baba says, we are given such directions, we are given such practices that we are going to finish our karmic settlements, and we will not have to take rebirth and again be a Rajyogi. We will go and rule in the new world of happiness. So this is one thing that Baba says. And then Baba also talks about the path of devotion. So on the path of devotion also, Baba says people are making a lot of effort. So, people are going, so you see, people are going without food and water for so many days. And I know, particularly in Jainism, there is a practice of going without food and water for, a month. I've seen people doing it for a month and people doing it for longer also. And then, there are people who are walking barefoot, and then with barefoot, they are going and traversing miles and miles. So all that is the path of devotion. And Baba says, you don't need to do all of that. Baba says, I never tell you don't eat. Or I remember there was this one sannyasi and he had come to the center and he told that, I eat only once a day. And that too, if I find food, that means if somebody gives me food, then, and if nobody gives me, then I go, without food for many days. So these are the ascetic practices, or, the path of devotion. So Baba says, I don't tell you all of that. I don't ask you to do all of that. Baba says, I don't stop you from, you can go wherever you want, you can eat whatever you want. Just make sure it is pure. So don't eat impure food. I'm not asking you to stay hungry or thirsty. I'm not asking you to be in one place. You can travel, you can see places if you have money. But Baba says, be in my remembrance. And these days, not just remembrance, but you can have a class everywhere, right? So even when you're traveling or you're going somewhere, just attend the class and just read the Murli and just be in remembrance. And Baba doesn't say that you don't go anywhere or don't have a holiday or don't eat. Baba today says you can have malpua or roti, whichever you can afford. Malpua means it's a sweet dish which is cooked in ghee, and it is fried in ghee and then soaked in sugar syrup. So Baba says, you want to have that, you have that also. I'm not saying you cannot have sweets or you cannot have this or that. Maybe for your health reasons you don't have it, that's fine. But I'm not stopping you from any of these. I'm just saying, have food cooked in Baba's remembrance, have food offered bhog to Baba, and Baba says, you just stay in remembrance wherever you go. And this makes you a Rajyogi, and just by being pure and being in remembrance, you become the masters of heaven. Okay, Om Shanti. Anybody wants to share anything, please do.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Baba today says that instead of fighting inner battle whole day, you begin it with Amrit Vela and be in Swaman, practice Swaman, and remember Baba, and also make a plan of the day. That whatever situation I face, whatever behaviors I face, I will be still peaceful because I am peaceful. I will be loveful, and this practice will help to build that strength of the soul.
Correct. Om Shanti.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Okay. Anybody else wants to share anything? Yes, Achyuta.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
It's interesting that today Baba clearly contrasts the Raja Yoga with other yogas like Hatha Yoga. And really, I had this question for a while, but today it is clarified. You explained that very well, that it can be performed even within the family instead of living on isolation and doing that. I thought that would bring some benefit or something, but you clarified that what are the benefits and the disadvantages. Thank you. Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba.
Om Shanti. Okay. Anybody else wants to share anything? Yes. Okay, so all are Rajyogis, right? So don't forget that. You can even, you write a BK before your name or Rajyogi before your name. That gives you very, elevated awareness about yourself, that you are not ordinary. And, when people see you in ordinary setting, they never remember that you are not ordinary. But it's not important what other people think about you. But if you are in that awareness, then you will always perform elevated actions. Okay. Om Shanti.